So what is the United States doing about this threat and about what's happening here? Joining me now is the Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs, Johnnie Carson. And Secretary Carson, we really appreciate your taking the time. You just heard the Tuareg rebels here saying, frankly, what I've heard from a lot of people here in the Islamist territory, saying that the Islamists are saying Americans are dogs. In one case, they said that they're like animals. What is the U.S. doing about this crisis?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be with you. Let me say we're deeply concerned about the current situation in Mali. The situation in Mali is a very complex one. It's not just one problem. It's several problems. It's a problem of restoring democracy and governance to the central government and to the south. It's a problem of reintegrating the Tuareg into society. They have a number of political grievances that have to be resolved. And it's a problem of dealing with the Islamists, the Salafists, those who belong to AQIM, Moussa, and Ansar el-Din. And it's equally a problem of dealing with a complex humanitarian emergency. As a part of our effort to deal with the issue of AQIM, we have long had...
That's Al-Qaeda Islamic Maghreb. Sorry, I just want to make sure so everyone knows. So the Al-Qaeda that operates here in Africa.
That's correct. AQIM is Al-Qaeda in the Islamic Maghreb. We have long had a program which is called the Trans-Sahel Counterterrorism Program. And in that multifaceted program, we have been providing assistance to the governments in the region to strengthen their borders, to strengthen their counterterrorism programs, to strengthen their military, and to give them equipment that will help deal with the Al-Qaeda threat.
We're here just miles from the border of northern Mali, and we went to the border. There was actually a lot of water when we were there, and water was really what was preventing the Islamists from coming into the village where we were. They were terrified. The morning after we were there were several 4x4s with guns mounted on the back patrolling that very area. And I'm simply saying this to make the point that our experience is that the border no longer matters, that the Islamists are on the Burkina side and perhaps in some of those other countries that you just mentioned. So are you worried that this is a cancer that could spread?
This is why we have the Trans-Sahara Counterterrorism Program. This is why we encourage the states in the region to work together. Their militaries, their customs services, their intelligence services. We think that they should all work together to prevent the threat that is posed by AQIM in the region. It's absolutely essential that probably no one country alone can deal with this problem, and it's important that they all work collaboratively to deal with it together.
Mm-hmm. What about the who is funding these Islamic radicals? I was talking to one of the leaders of the Tuareg rebel group, and I asked him who was funding them, and he said something I wanted to play to you because it was rather shocking.
Qatar is intervening directly in the financing and material of the Islamists in Azawad. Qatar is sending it directly, visibly to the Mujahideen and Al-Qaeda, and we think this is flagrant support of the Islamists.
Secretary Carson, Qatar is one of the biggest allies of the United States in the Middle East. That was a damning accusation.
I'm not sure whether the accusation is true, but I do know that a lot of the activities of AQIM and the Islamists are in fact self-funded. They engage in kidnapping for ransom, which is bad, and we condemn the kidnapping, and we equally condemn those countries who pay ransoms to kidnappers, because those large ransoms help to fund the activities. The AQIM are also associated with smugglers who are smuggling goods from and across borders into to the region. And they're engaged in robbery. Many of the weapons that they use have come, in fact, from the disintegration of the Malian army in northern Mali over the last 3 months. So it may be that there is some outside money coming in, but it is equally true that there are resources to be gained by the AQIM from their kidnapping for ransom as well as their smuggling and robbery in the region.